So welcome to episode. Okay, no. Welcome to episode 20 of Korea Talk. Just gonna run through the games real quick. I have a couple comments about some of the teams, and then move on to who they're playing next week and pick which teams we think we're gonna win. So let's start the week off with Samsung versus Longshu, where Samsung won 2-1.
That series that expression threw so fucking badly. Just saying. Like, did you see what happened in game two, the last fight? Did you actually watch how expression backed while they were fighting 5v4,
Yeah.
and then TP'd in when the fight was over? I mean, okay, if Coco had drawn a gold card, but still, like the fact that expression. I mean, I don't even know why he was full health.
Yeah, it was sad to watch because obviously we think of Longzhu as this team with the really jam-packed roster kind of thing. There's a lot of great parts going on in Longzhu, but they don't seem to have put them together into anything kind of good right now. And then the original argument we got for why they were using Expression over Flame was that Expression looked like he fit the team better, and he looked like he had good synergy with Chaser and stuff like that. But that kind of didn't seem to show itself in this series. It was weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he also had Captain Jack not always being too great.
Yeah.
I think game three he got fucking caught a lot of times.
I'm still excited about this Longzhu team. I just think they need more time and they need Fury as well.
Yeah. Captain Jack does not look as good as it did week one,
They're gonna
and
need Fury.
neither did Pure.
Yeah, Pure is on and off, and yeah, his Bard was not too great in that series. He has good Bard games and worse, but yeah, he should maybe have got the All-Star when he got the chance.
The whole thing with Pure was that we were speculating that he wasn't going to be the player that wins or loses the game. He was just going to be a player, that like a role player. He wasn't going to help win or lose the games where you're going to have, at the time, Flame, Chaser, Coco, and Fury were going to be like the four playmakers. But there were a lot of Bard ults that really caused them fights.
Bard also did squad shit.
Is Fury banned until? He was banned for a month.
A 1 month of competitive play, so we should only see him by week 5.
Oh, Christ.
So it's still quite a while.
5? He should be week 4, February.
No, a month of competitive play.
Oh, full competitive play. Okay.
Competitive play. So that's why. So it's a full month. So he's only going to be back in week 5.
His first game will be at versus SKT then.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. I think that Longzhu should have dumpstered, and then they fucking faltered in game 2, and then game 3 somehow Ambition carried that game. It's brutally heavy against Chaser. We're just what the fuck? Why is Chaser getting dumpstered by Ambition? I don't know.
It was a bit like being in Bizarro land. That's the other thing as well. I don't know. Chaser doesn't look like there was that point in game 1 where he got the advantage. And it was and the casters were oh yeah, so the great thing about Chaser is when he gets an advantage, he really presses it, and
he hammers
on one lane, and he did nothing with it. He didn't get it, you know what I mean?
Very little.
It was so bizarre to watch. Normally we don't think of Chaser with really high kill participation, but in the games I've watched, he hasn't had that high of a kill participation kind of thing.
No.
Something is not quite working with this Longzhu roster, and I think it will, given time. And if the players want it to work, and I kind of really want this Longzhu roster to work as well, because I want more teams to be like this Longzhu in the sense of they get a big sponsor and then they use that sponsor to go invest in other players and bring some players back from or stop them going to foreign leagues, and we kind of see more and more talent in Korea kind of stick around in Korea. You know what I mean? But it does kind of. Because I do think you could put together another kind of couple of Longzhu-esque teams based on players that are overseas very easily. So I kind of want Longzhu to do well, because if Samsung do well, Samsung pay their players fuck all publicly, oh yeah, we don't really pay our players that much. We don't like it when players ask about how much money they're going to make. So while I'm happy for Samsung to do well, I don't want it to be at the expense of Longzhu doing well. You know what I mean?
Basically, you want more players to come back to Korea for money. Perhaps if Chinese teams continue to start popping up in Korea, you want to see them come back.
I want the teams that pay their players the best to perform the best.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. I want
Understandable.
because I want. Obviously, I don't think it's ever going to be in the situation where like the best players on the Korean teams make the best money because of the way the bonkers inflation in foreign leagues. But I want it to be like if you're a really good Korean player and you're like, shall I go overseas or shall I stay in Korea? You can weigh up the pros and cons and you go, right, well, I'll earn an extra 100,000 if I go play in a foreign league, but I have to live in a foreign country. I have to play on a shit team and I won't win anything. If I stay in Korea, I'll earn a respectable salary. I'll still get the prestige of playing in LCK and I'll be more likely to win something and go to Worlds and that kind of thing. So I want it to be like a sort of a trade-off, you know what I mean? Whereas,
So basically, you want the team players to play the majority of their career in Korea, and then as their is like deteriorating,
Then
they can
have grab
the larger paycheck because they're not able to play on Korea anymore.
and then have like a second run of glory, like in the same way that like Insect's career was kind of checked out in Korea. Then he went to China and managed to extend it by a couple of years. You know what I mean? He managed to make it to World Finals and that kind of thing.
And he's going to extend it a couple more years because he's become a Chinese.
Yeah, he's going to be considered Chinese soon.
So they can have three players.
So it gives him the opportunity to kind of there's season 5 was pretty shit for him, but like he would have been benched midway through season 4 if it wasn't for Starholm Royal Club kind of leading the way and making him a big offer. That's what I mean. So I think there are room for other players to do similar things. And obviously I want the best players to play in on as many good teams and stuff like that. But I also want LCK to feel like the most prestigious league and to feel like the league with the highest concentration of talent. And while I think it is that right now, I still think it could be better.
No,
yeah, I think it still is. I think we could get more than four teams that we think are going to play well, and then I guess it's 3 teams playing well at the moment, and then 2, one of them who we think can play better than they are, and one team that's a slightly overperforming in Samsung.
Yeah, slightly. It's.
We're not getting Genera overperforming as well.
I think they came back to reality this week, though. Honestly, they won both games. They won both games. They played against E-mfire, and they look really, really shaky against Freeca.
Well, we'll get to sad playing later on.
Still not lost. But
yeah, the biggest issue I saw with Samsung in their first game was Lulu top, Kuve not good, and a reappearing theme of
fucking Gangplank.
I don't get Gangplank. Like I just don't get what he brings outside of a hope for a lucky barrel crit.
That does no damage. It's
it's such a passive pick as well because it's impossible to win lane with it. Like you're just stuck there. Like and you just hope
you're
that
going to lose your tower every time. You're always back in CS.
Yeah. And the ability is so expensive, like it feels like it requires the enemy team to make a mistake, especially seeing as it's been nerfed,
It requires the enemy team to just stay AFK for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then hope you have some damage. But you have to realize most of the core items that Gangplank used to know has a lot less flat damage now because they changes in items. Like Infinite only has 65 AD anymore. So like if you would double stack it like before, it's 30 AD less and all that shit. It just doesn't do that much anymore.
Like I'm not sure what the win rate is for Gangplank, but it can't be high.
No, I have to check, but it's pretty fucking low in Korea, that's for sure.
Like it's one of those where I'm really like, can we please stop like banning it and picking it kind of thing?
Yeah, I really don't like. That's the biggest thing is that it seems to be almost a constant pick and ban.
It is almost entirely, yeah. He's one of the highest priorities pick still, but it's lowest effort. You get the least from it for the highest.
Yeah, he has 100. Okay, he has 100 pick and ban with 31 bans, 6 games played, 2 wins, 4 losses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of that win was very, very, very slow as shitty win from SKT. I can't remember if I remember.
Yeah, and like the other issues with it as well is it's not even particularly fun to watch Gangplank play. You know what I mean? Like, it was when
he first came, and then it's just like,
it got old. You know what I mean?
It only got boring and pretty slow. And like every single time, the way Gangplank's team fight is just running around, legit not fighting in melee combat, but just waiting for Qs and barrels to be up. They never want to go in and use the fucking passive that does like so much damage, but they don't do it. So
you get blown up too quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shitty like combination. but they still all go full damage, so they can't ever go in.
Yeah. Oh well, but and then like in the next game, I mean, I don't want to talk about pick and bans too much because obviously we
No, I do want to talk about how Crown like is fucking being a rock for that team, and his I don't get why they keep giving him Victor, because like he fucking carries team fights so badly on that champion.
yeah
Like a lot of players, but yeah, he
like Victor's is his best champion, like by like he's really good on that, like because it's a hard carry champion and like the AP scaling's on it so insane and stuff like that, and like when you watch Crown play, like he gives you this idea of like it's like Crown against the world, you know what I mean? Like he seems like a bit of a sort of protagonist on like a TV show or something like that, in the way that he like plays the game and how he sort of like always goes for the big outplay and stuff like that. And while it's it's good to see because he's always like kind of positioning himself as like underdog and whatnot. Like I do kind of want to see like teams to push him a bit more and go, right, let's give you 2 mid lane bans this game and see how well you do on your 4th best champion or something like that kind of thing. Like I want him tested because I do think he's a prospect in career, but he won't be tested until teams start targeting him because he is the big threat on that team.
Yeah,
100%.
Victor's also really an interesting champ because he really doesn't have like a huge fall off. Like he just slowly, progressively gets stronger and stronger and stronger. There's no like huge dip of power.
He should be like one of the highest priority mid laners right now. There's so little picks that can really stand up against him. He's
Like,
always valuable.
Also with
most bunker things, I was like, he's not even played that much in foreign leagues. Like you watch I don't think the European LCS has like picked him at all and stuff like that. It's like
it's insane.
Like
there's a way like Gangplank priority is here, Victor is here, but it should be like completely the opposite.
Yeah.
I don't understand it at all because I mean if you look at the current meta where you're still trading turrets and it's like trade 2 outside turrets and then kind of go around mid and try and find picks and stuff. Victor can just endlessly prevent mid lane from falling. Like if your team needs to scale and you've already you traded your turrets, it's gonna get really hard for the other team. They have to overextend somewhere because they don't have the mid turret, and he can just endlessly clear waves, which is a huge positive for him. For any champion.
What's the realistic downside of Victor? You know what I mean? He's great in lane. He can win lane. He's great in team fights. He concedes pretty well.
No,
4 games out. Like he's kind of low mobility, but he's still pretty fast moving. Like,
boy, this Q, he still has like
I'd say he's got low mobility and he can get burst real quick because he doesn't have all the raw stats. But I mean, those are things you could almost say about any mid laner.
Even still, he has good trading with his Q, and Abyssal rushing is never a problem, or even getting Rileys on him. So you can always get some defensive on him. But for the damage he offers, zone control, wave clear, AoE damage, it's
priority for some players.
Teams.
Other champ I want to see you guys what your thoughts on is Poppy. Is Poppy like the new Maokai, where anyone can play it and it just makes you look like a much better player than you actually are?
Wait,
because there's a big difference between like when Smeb plays Poppy and when I watch there's a lot you can do. Like the use of Poppy's ultimate is like a big deciding factor in like how good of a Poppy player you are and stuff like that. And like some players also you've got the charge as well where you knock someone into a thing. Like some players can be like you can be quite creative with Poppy in a way that obviously you couldn't be creative with Maokai. So
yeah, well it's also like Poppies don't necessarily win lane, dude. I see a lot.
I just mean like you have a floor. Like there's a floor where if you're playing, you can pretty much the champion can pull you to this level. Like Maokai, there's so little fuck up, and you can just put him on anyone.
Yeah.
As long as you can farm decently, it's like you can still do whatever you need to do.
It's very similar.
Poppy have some of that, or
it's similar because Poppy gets way too much bonus stats, so she's always very. I mean, she can be very tanky even if you're like. I constantly did see Poppies getting out farmed in Korea, but they always still are very tanky after just getting 3 items because they go full tank. Are always relevant to the Ice One Gauntlets and have some weight and have decent wave clear. I mean, like pushing wave clear. And yeah, I don't know. They're just way too tanky right now, I think. But yeah, so it's not hard.
What I do find interesting is that like I don't think we've seen a game of Poppy support in Korea.
No.
But when you watch foreign leagues, like it's like Poppy's either like a 50-50 split, whether it goes support or
I mean before Korea they all went support they didn't except maybe
you saw Poppies in LPL like a bit and stuff like that, but like I mean it was still
China as well, true.
but like I think it's like something on a Korean solo queue, like because obviously like a lot of the Chinese and LPL pros play on the Korean server. But I don't know that like that was a weird. You are right in the sense of like before you watched it in LCK, you didn't really see it being played
in the West.
in the West at least.
No top now. Very little.
But I definitely think it's like a better top lane than it is a support as well because of the bonus stats and stuff like that.
Because you don't get a support because you build health and not defensive stats, so you don't actually get much of the bonus. And it's so weird because you have some harass with the range and then the blocking of the dashes, but why support? Like you feel there's so much more useful supports like Trundle. I mean, I think Trundle, Bard, Thresh, and Alistar do so much more right now in the support role, which I don't get why you want Poppy.
Yeah. I can see it's used as a flex pick, but like Korea, they don't really use it as a flex pick. So, you know, they just put it top and go, that's it.
Yeah.
But this series is like Longzhu's first game was really good, and then they looked like I was like, oh, that's gonna be a straight 2-0, and then the second game like Samsung won, and I was like, well, I did say that Samsung had a chance to win a game, so I guess that's not. And then the third game like Samsung just won again. I was like, oh, okay.
The third game wasn't close anymore.
Yeah, like it was so weird to watch Ambition like wreck Chaser in
yeah. It was so weird, but they were able to do pretty well after that, and Wraith still showing up pretty much. One of the better players on the team too. I mean, I know we were talking about Crown, but
yeah,
Wraith or Casper, whatever you want to call him, has really shown up and like been a significant positive for his team almost every game.
Like what I'd say about Longzhu is like I think the best way their season can go is like they managed to get into playoffs like through either the 5th or the 4th spot, and then like have to go on a bit of a tear in the playoffs. You know what I mean? I think that's really the best they can hope for the season because there's a chance they'll do a Najin and not even manage to make playoffs. You know what I mean?
That really should
be. But it's top 6, dude.
Disappointing.
Is it top 6?
No.
Top 5.
No, because they do Gauntlet still, which is kind of dumb.
Still top 5, right?
Yeah, and like every place, like I mean, 5th and there's no difference between 5th and 4th, but then like 3rd, but there's a massive difference between like 3rd and 4th, and then like 2nd and 3rd and stuff like. Cause you have to pay a whole one best of 5 less.
Yeah, I mean I really hope to see Longzhu like as soon as they get their full roster completed, and if they choose Expression or Flame and stick with them, I hope to see like a marked improvement throughout like each week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
This week was.
I think that's going to be the bigger thing to tell is as soon as they get Fury, and they start playing to see how well they start to gel there.
I still have.
I don't know if either of you guys know. Are they like practicing with Captain Jack or not Fury, or are they practicing with both? Or
no idea.
Because I really wonder if they're practicing.
I know that Pure and Pure and Fury were like duo queuing like crazy before the start of the LCK. Like they were every game duo queuing together. So I think that I theorize that Fury and Pure are more comfortable with each other as bot lane partners than Captain Jack and Pure are, because Pure is quite a good laning support, and obviously Fury is a bit of a beast in lane as well. So I can imagine those two kind of bouncing off each other quite well and doing well in that aspect. So I do think that they will improve when they get Fury, because I do think Fury is an upgrade over Captain Jack.
Yeah.
And I do think it would give them more dimension as well, because Captain Jack's not the player who's going to hard carry the game for you, whereas Fury will absolutely hard carry games if he needs to. But I like the idea of watching Fury sometimes have to take a backseat depending on the composition, because I've always theorized he could take a backseat. It's just on that Samsung roster he was forced to be the primary carrier in nearly every single game. You know what I mean? So it's like he couldn't take a backseat because his team at that point weren't good enough to carry against other LCK teams to make it worth him doing. But I think he could do it if need be. You know what I mean?
I still, for Longzhu, I'm still a bit afraid of how Chaser is adapting, because he still hasn't impressed me, and I still rate him high, but I do know how bad he was last splits, and people still like hype him up, but like he was not like impressive a lot.
He definitely checked out near the end of the summer.
That was the thing. He checked out at the end of the summer. Then he did really fucking well in that gauntlet, though, didn't he? Like.
Yes, he. Yeah.
Why? That was it. I won.
So it's like, there's a lot of question marks about this team. I think this team could be great. You know what I mean? Like when I saw this roster
Of course.
before I like it was confirmed that Peanut was going to be on the Tigers, and the Tigers was going to be insane. I was like, this is the team that is best poised to dethrone SKT and stuff like that, just based on how stacked their roster was and stuff like that. So I do think that they can do it. I just think they need to kind of just work on a few things and, in a sense, stop making sets so hard for them as well. Like they kind of pick themselves into a corner sometimes as well. It feels like.
Yeah.
make
it harder than it needs to be for them to win the game.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That there's a lot of that going on for them specifically. Anything else to say about this set?
Well,
Disappointing throw. That game too, dude. I won't forget that fast.
yeah, like that was a weird thing about game 2 as well. Like especially split pushed a lot on Fiora and stuff like that, but then like Samsung kind of like pulled it together and like managed to out team fight them. So I was like, I kind of felt disappointed that like Longzhu didn't kind of prepare for that situation, and then they both didn't prepare for the eventuality they would get out. They would like it would come down to one team fight, and didn't prepare. So they would like lose every team fight against Longzhu, and then they also didn't kind of. But then I don't really get why they would draft themselves into a situation where they could guaranteed be worse in a team fight than Samsung. You know what I mean? Like when you have the better players, I think it's better off just to play their own game against them and just kind of style on them in that way. You know what I mean? Like, so I think they tried a bit too hard in that series.
I think also they weren't completely on the same page during team fights at all.
Yeah, their team fights looked kind of sloppy, which I think may have been why they went for poke. But I mean, even poke requires a lot more like communication than.
Well, it was more like turret pushing because poke other than Corky.
Yeah,
I'm just surprised they didn't just go straight out team fight comp.
Yeah.
And just kind of outmuscle them because they are individually better.
That's true.
How much you guys want to talk about this E-mfire generic? Any game that E-mfire is in, pretty much straight up trash. These series have been fucking garbage.
Ignite Quinn top lane, that was interesting, and I'm glad we are seeing more of this because it actually works effective for Quinn because her mobility is stupid anyway. Why would you get a summoner that has 5-minute cooldown you barely use in the game and often like doesn't even? I mean, Quinn pretty much does the same thing without having to actually waste a summoner.
I think
I will say
they needed to focus in that game too. They needed to focus on shutting down TF because TF was 100% their ability to try and outsplit, like to actually split.
Yeah, I will say that E-mfire are not as bad as Sbenu were in the summer split last year. So in the sense of like they're not a total write-off, but right now they shouldn't be winning games. Like I think maybe like week 10 or something we might see them start to take series and stuff like that. But right now they shouldn't actually be winning games because still. But I think they have. I don't think they're as bad as Sbenu were. You know what I mean?
Well,
so,
no, they only won.
My biggest issue with them is how many of them are 80 carries. Like they have 2 x 80 carries playing different roles in their team, and they have a top laner who's played 3 games of fucking top Nautilus.
Yeah,
like,
that top Nautilus.
The bigger issue I have with them is just simply they don't like have a team identity, and they're playing like I can play Nautilus top. Okay, please don't feed, lol. Like, it seems like it's not a team.
The E-mfire's biggest plan for the season should be don't get relegated.
Yep.
That should be their big goal, really. Let's use this as train as much as possible and not get relegated because like you shouldn't really get relegated as a Korean team. You know what I mean? Like shouldn't really happen. Well, I've not ever been not like crushing the challenger scene as you might hope. So.
Well, they haven't played Key, have they?
Yeah, they haven't been playing Key. So.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Well, I haven't anymore.
Yeah, I wonder if he's gone somewhere or anything like that. But it just, I don't know. They seem so disjointed as a unit that I'm surprised that they even show up and get kills in games or turrets, and
because
it's just an embarrassment.
Because Korea is really top heavy. But no, I thought like it's fun to see Chase still play. No, Chase, Trace still playing well and still playing sort of.
It's fun to see him not play Maokai, Rumble, or Gnar. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Or even just Maokai and Rumble, which is all he could play for a bit. So it's good to watch him, in his new sort of like carry role for the team and stuff like that, because he is the primary carry on that Jin Air lineup.
my biggest like positive looking at him is simply the ability. Like he seems to be where Sohan was again another solo queue talent. He seems to like really be in like an unmovable object where Wing can really focus. Like he has focused some ganks top with Trace for some of the Graves games he's played, but they really kind of just go out elsewhere. He can help out Pilot and Chain, help out Kuzan and Lane, and Trace is just gonna be like, "Oh, I saw that gank coming 4 minutes ago."
Yeah,
Like he's just such a safe laner and knows what to do, and he's a much older presence, and hopefully he can really like keep some of the younger players not like going on tilt.
I do think for the moment it's better for Jin Air to use Trace and Sohan.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I don't think they should drop Sohan because
No, he should definitely be the future.
like
Trace is my age, so
there might be a point in time where Trace just decides to stop playing well.
Appreciate showing it.
You know what I mean? So you need that backup, and you need someone to motivate him as well. So do you think that's a good idea from the Jin Air coach to have to take on a top lane sub, but keep Trace on the roster because obviously it's motivated him to play better, which is nice. But other than that, it was a fairly kind of like one-sided and like nothing series really.
it was exactly what you expect against E-mfire
Yeah.
or Empire or however they want to be called. It's exactly the kind of game you'd expect from them. It's just them to lose quickly.
Yep.
Now we have one of the most fun series. Holy shit, these games were ridiculous. KT versus the Rocks Tigers.
Yeah. Like this is a series like if you watch this series and didn't enjoy it, you don't actually enjoy
No.
it.
It was
Because-
awesome.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
that's seriously
like-
awesome.
Like if I put this series on for you and you don't like captivated by it, you're not really that into League of Legends. You're more into like soap operas or something like that.
That third game was just, oh my god.
That third game,
was
I
amazing.
just knew
just
Rox
how
was
they
gonna,
played it out.
Yeah. After the draft, I was like, yeah, okay, Rox is gonna destroy them right now. This
The way it was played out, and
tactical
Gorilla.
animation. Oh god, like Gorilla is like a fucking god, dude. It's unreal.
He's so good at the game, like for real.
His Alistar is like, why do they give it to him?
Yeah.
I like
Because
that
they have to
third
ban
game.
other people out.
No, but they can pick it. I don't get like third game was like, come on, KT, pick the Alistar, pick the Alistar. Like, oh yeah, they go for Shadow again. Okay, why not? Why not fucking go Shen?
Well, you gotta ban Quinn, you gotta ban
Yeah, but-
Fiora,
like-
you gotta ban Callisto.
But
Like,
Rox doesn't prioritize the Alistar. Like KT could literally just like, okay, we want Alistar because
So
Alistar is fucking strong right now.
the big like asterisk about this series is KT played Hachani instead of Ignat.
yeah.
Ugh.
Why are they still playing Hachani?
Yeah, that series was a Chinese series for sure.
Like Hachani had like some good moments in it, but he still looked like
He had
Hachani.
a lot of fucking bad moments in it too.
Yeah, and like I don't know, he just played like support Shen every game. I was like, is that all he can play? Like I don't even know if support Shen is
More
really a
good
thing
game
that's done by anybody else right now.
No, no, he's like only one.
Not in Korea.
No, he's the only one. He's the only one. Like Emily tweeted about it. It's like she's like the fucking weirdo that picks it.
Yeah, but like there was some really good moments in the game as well. Like Arrow played pretty well in the series as well. Like he had that insane Lucian game in game 2, and he had that like like it was a really kind of good series. And like you saw a lot of like high level team fighting going on in it as well, and like different strategies and whatnot. And I like the way that KT kind of switched up and didn't play like sort of super late game 5 Dragon style. They played against the weaker teams because they knew that like Tigers would kick their head in if they tried that. So they kind of switched up a little bit and played a bit more aggressive and stuff like that. So I like that idea. And like there were so many kind of good moments in the series that kind of made it stand out.
Yeah. Also, like Sunday was the most effective Gnar into Tankaichi I've seen his entire
Oh
But
my
yeah,
god, that was
he was
brutal.
like I almost never see Tom Kench actually get direct that much, but the fucking frozen mallet was just oh my god.
Yeah.
Smap had like nothing to do in lane. Smap still played that Tom Kench really well.
Yeah,
but-
exactly. There was that insane moment where they were team fighting and like he hid in the bush at the blue buff. Then like
Oh,
arrow had to go into it. There was like bam, like
Arrow got fucking outplayed so badly there, dude. Like, but he was pushing
This
out way
series,
too
though,
much, dude. He was pushing.
This series like makes me question why people prefer Tom Kench top. I just like don't get it. This week and the series was he's just so easily kiteable. And that we're seeing a lot of poke champs and like mid laners who are 80
ones.
carries who can back away, and he just seems to, oh, I have a lot of health and do damage. Why don't you just put him in the support where he can just protect someone on his team by eating them?
he's
And-
quite good at split pushing because he's got the global pressure on when you play him on top lane. All his better suits him being on top lane, and his scaling's quite good as well. So I guess that's why teams do it.
His damage is actually like his damage is stupid, and like the way what was I saying? He's so just because he becomes so tanky and killing tanks right now is hard because I like for some reason no AD carry practice any armor penetration or something, so they can't kill tanks. You just a big meat shield that can block, like can disrupt the team fight for a long time, and because he doesn't die, he can still always try to eat somebody and just he keeps attention on himself for a long time while the
Yeah,
other damage dealers can.
you've got to keep kiting him because if he gets up close to one of your carries, like who's just
yeah, he's not going to get off of them.
the team.
He just a lot of the games he seems to be just simply kited down to 0, like, even through his gray health.
Eventually,
shield.
yes, but the intention is that your team wins the fight by the time they start chopping in your gray health, and then you can back off and still live.
I don't know. I mean, personally, I understand like all that. Just personally, I think I don't know. I like him better as a support where he just can stand by your carries and basically prevent them from taking damage when they get CC'd. It's like, oh, you got Lux bound. Nope, I ate you.
Yeah, but he's just the best tank top laner right now. So like, yeah, he might be good support as well, and he is. But for actually being a tank in the top lane, he's like just the best right now because he also has a stupid amount of damage and is actually pretty easy to gank as well.
You have
to realize this about 40% max health if you get eaten and stuff. Like it's stupid.
Yeah.
The damage is straight
His
up.
Q has like a 70% slow and has pretty low cooldown as well. Helps with sieging as well with the spitting minions.
It's such a it is a flex pick for Tigers as well, obviously because like Gorilla's really proficient on it and Smeb's really proficient on it, so they can just pick it early on in the draft, and you have literally no idea where it's going, and it's devastating in either. You know, it's like has the potential to be devastating either if you fuck up that draft. So I can see definitely why Tigers play it.
I can see why some people play it. Just like I don't know, I see like it either does so much and it's super oppressive, and you're like, wow, this thing's really like this champion's broken, or you don't see him do significant and he gets kited to all hell. I don't know. It just he's still on the fence about him. I understand he does so much damage, but just like
his stats
what
are
he
just
does
too
dumb.
high right now. Yeah, that's what it's. His stats are too high right now to just ignore it. You can just put him top lane because why not? He's too strong to.
What I would say as well is game 1, Peanut got in that ass of score. He got in that ass, like
Yeah, he did.
wrecked him. Like
He definitely did.
there was a moment like where Peanut was like 3-1-7 and score was like 0-2-1. Like wrecked.
I can fucking appreciate how Peanut plays with Skirmisher Saber and what games he chooses to be aggressive and what games he can even be a defensive more tank. Because I was like game 3, dude. I was like, okay, Peanut, you have to go tank now, and he did. He was tank. He plays his role actually really well in that team, and like they said in the post interview, he just trusts on his teammates a lot, and you see how he melted with the team very fast. Like
Yeah.
Can't say that from other players right now. Duke, I don't think at all has been that great in SKT. Peanut has.
It might be some kind of weird thing because I mean it's 3 other players are from Najran, and I mean maybe they because they used to live with him, and maybe there's a bit more respect he has for them. He knows they're better.
That's definitely possible.
I guess and no, because at most like Kuro and Gorilla will have been with Peanut, like lived with him for like a month. So because he joined Najin at the end of season 4 and left around that time.
Yeah, then not.
And then like obviously Prey, like will have been way before. Like Prey and Kuro don't really overlap on Najin.
Yeah.
Like that would have been at most like a week, especially since Kuro joined the replacement Najin Black Sword lineup that Prey got kicked from. So like I think that when Peanut, all the issues he had on Najin and the fact that he got benched for like, it was rumored that he got benched for like sort of like not mentality issues, but like for the way he talked to teammates and stuff like that. I think that's helped him a lot because that's taught him a lesson. Like, so when he got a second chance on a really successful team, I think he was just like, this is why he talks about, oh, I just trusted my teammates really well and they trusted me and whatnot. I think that kind of made him mature a bit, and that's why we see him playing really well, because we knew he had the potential to be like incredible. You know what I mean? You watched his early games and like he was so decisive the way he did stuff and so aggressive and such incredible mechanics, and like he forced the issue so well. But like he only ever forced the issue, and he didn't seem to really like. I get the impression there'd be times his teammates would be like, "Oh yeah, you can go down the river," and he'd be like, "I know what I'm doing. Shut up!" Like, and then it would like blow up in his face. So I don't get that on Tigers now, and I think that's why it's kind of gelled immediately. I think part of it as well is like there's probably some kind of like ethos that players get when they're on Najin, because that wouldn't surprise me. They're all in the same coaching staff, and so he like a lot of the initial coaching techniques he was given would be the same ones that Gorilla would have gotten as a rookie and that Prey would have gotten early on and stuff like that as well. So I guess that's a part to play.
It makes a bit more sense.
But like, I mean, put it this way, based on this series, Peanut might actually be like the best at his role in the entire world right now.
What are you talking about? Score really better.
He fucking wrecked Score.
Yeah, I give him one, but like I don't think Score played bad at all.
No, Score didn't play bad. I'm just saying that Peanut right now might literally be the best at his role.
Clear Love.
Oh, he's better than Clear Love.
Yeah, he does. It's the bigger thing I have to say, whether or not he's the best or not. He definitely is, at least in the debate, like the debate of top two, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably top. Is just how well they've put him in, and there's been no hiccup. Like,
yeah,
they just came out and just wrecked face.
He also played 3 different journals that series. Man.
Yeah, the worst part, the worst part, I say the best part as well is when Peanut replaced Hojin. Like the issue we were worried about was Hojin was the team captain of the Tigers before, and like
I don't
they were
believe
quite
that.
out and out about how they
Yeah, I still don't think.
I still think Smeb and Gorilla, like you could see the games revolved around Smeb and Gorilla, and wherever they went.
I guess they just let
occurred.
Hojin think he was a captain, so he felt more important for that team.
But
so he's like, yeah, Hojin, you're right, man. We'll listen to you.
Yeah, at least my concern was you took somebody who was like, quite like bubbly and like laughable and easy to get on with. These are all like claims we get about Hojin's personality, and quite sort of easygoing and would like be very selfless for the team and whatnot. And then you put in Peanut, this big aggressive carry jungler, and it's like, is there going to be any conflict? Turns out, no, there's not, because you know what, Tigers have amazing coaching staff and they just managed to slot him immediately.
I think also like a young player like him is not going. I mean, I think you will listen to his peers. I don't think he will just be intentionally counterproductive. Just he'll listen to what Gorilla and his coach say and help the team.
Yeah.
But he's one of the few, I think, in Korea. Definitely, he's like the only one who actually will go skirmish to Saber and just go like, I'm gonna 1v1 anybody. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna fight. Yeah.
Like, you come into Peanut's jungle, he's gonna try and fight you. Like, you know what I mean? He's not gonna let you like wander into his jungle and get away with it. Like, and his like the way that he plays like team fights and like his little mechanical outplays that he does as well, where like that moment where obviously it was just in series where he was against Flame and he like repelled the Lissandra ult animation, like. Stuff like that, like the way he fakes out animations and whatnot. It's just beautiful to watch. Like if you like the theory of like Rush on Cloud9 and how Rush plays a game, like Peanut's a whole nother level from Rush kind of thing. Like maybe their mechanics are similar, but Peanut's decision making and
that's my always issue with players that are Korean that have never played in Korea professionally. Is like, yeah, they may look good in other regions, but we've also seen players that are kind of falling apart at the seams in Korea. And then reinvent themselves, or come back to their peak.
Yeah.
In other regions, like Reignover I don't know what happened unless he's like, oh, I'm finally out of Korea, and all these people speak languages I speak. Unless he like didn't understand Korean because he was born in Korea. Like he just played games like I don't fucking understand what they're saying, but they seem to know what's happening and just like kind of went along with it. He truly has come back, and like it's startling to see his play then and now.
But but Reynov is like the exception that proves the rule in the sense of he was a pro we knew in Korea who went to a foreign team and played much better on said foreign team. He is very much the exception that proves that rule. Like
I'm just saying, like we've seen him kind of show, like he shows up and it's like, wow, everyone Fnatic first pick him up, everyone like, they picked up game over, and he's kind of completely turned around. So it kind of makes you think about how good are some of these players that we've never seen outside of the LC, like outside of champions in the LCS.
Like when a player plays in Korea a lot, definitely something happens to their mentality that makes them mentally stronger. Because how many players do we know in Korea that are known for having choking issues or tilt a lot in a series, that kind of thing? Like Piglet, that's about it. And even then, I think Piglet's like actual mental fortitude in the best of five is actually pretty good. I just think he can be a bit of an asshole to his teammates out of game if you let him.
I think he can tilt, and he's a bit of a dick. But usually his tilt, like you could see it kind of. He'd get upset at like if they lost a game, and then they'd come back, and he'd be back to normal.
Yeah.
Like you'd see that the coaching staff and everyone's like, yeah, we just lost. Someone go fix that.
Yeah.
Where I don't think that I think because he knows he's better than almost everyone he plays with, it's very difficult to get him to get him to calm down and get him to like refocus now.
But like I get what you're saying like, overall in the sense of like I always say like Hooney's really good, but imagine if Hooney like had played in Korea for a year, he'd be a better player than he is right now.
Oh yeah.
There was a rumor that I was crazy excited about, which is the idea that Hooney was going to go to CJ Enters and be their new top player. That was so exciting, and I thought maybe he'll bring Reno with him. Like, you know what I mean? This would be like them coming back to Korea, and obviously he went and joined Immortals, and now is, I guess, doing really well. So I guess, props to him, especially because of how shit CJ Enters look. But I do think in terms of him like developing his career as a player, he would definitely have like I think his like tilting issues, for example, would be stamped out of him very quickly early on and stuff like that.
He's definitely one of the players I'd love to see come back just to see how he performs.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some of those players that are like, oh man, I've never saw him play against the top teams here in like best of threes constantly or best of twos what it was before, and I would just love to see some of these players that never played in LCK or champions and come back and play just to see. Oh man, yeah, they truly were that good. Because when he played against Smeb, he did not look. I mean, he was obviously slumping at the time, but he just got completely wrecked.
Here's what I'd say: like it's almost indisputable that players in Korea can go from being not very good to really good in a way that you don't see Western players quite manage. So Western players they're either not very good, they get like maybe alright. Or they go from like alright to pretty good. You see players like Smeb or GBM go from complete shit to fucking incredible in the space of like a split. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I mean. So, or at least like
almost winning the Long Panda Award to being the best top laner in the world award.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but to get back because obviously we got massively off topic. Like this Tigers lineup when they played this series against KT looked good, but Tigers just looked insane. Like they looked so good. They
look complete.
Tigers look. You see with KT always still having some struggles here and there, and not entirely being. I mean, there's definitely the problems in some lineup, like why Chinese still there. I don't know, and you see the Rocks just also being better. In how they draft their teams and stuff. They were prepared to win a series.
Yeah.
KT were struggling to win a game.
Like I always say, if you play a best of 5 or a best of 3 against another team, if it's 2 top Korean teams, they should always be capable of taking at least one game off each other because they should always have something up their sleeve to make them go, right, well, we've got that one game off you kind of thing. It's about how they adapt and how they play off each other and stuff like that. That's why Korean series are the best because good teams rarely flounder. Obviously, we had those SKT disasters last year, but
that's something completely
I think that's
different.
a bit different. I mean, KT was clearly head and shoulders above everyone else.
SKT.
I think SKT was SKT was head and shoulders above everyone else in Korea and more or less the world. But I mean, Rocks. We've seen SKT kind of, not look the greatest, and it looks like Rocks are currently the most complete team, almost on all pages.
Yeah.
Where their weakest player is not really that weak, and
The weakest
he's actually
player
pretty good.
is like above average and extremely serviceable.
Yeah.
Like he knows his role and he can carry games as well. You put him on Victor, he'll carry that game. Like he'll start bodying fools.
Maybe that Prey.
Maybe that's just Victor really OP. But
Yeah, he is. But
I think he's
also,
pretty strong.
That series also again nice gangplank team.
yeah.
Fuck the champion.
I like the way that the fact that the one game Gangplank got picked was the game that Tigers lost. But no, it was such a fun like series, and it was so kind of like high level, like from like start to finish. And
still, they still didn't win game 2, but they still played really well from behind, which is also good showing from teams like that. But I mean, they never should. I mean, the biggest issue was like KT had all the options because they could have gone Baron, got a 5th Dragon. I think it was that series, and inhibitors, and then they just fucked up the decision making.
It was great to see them play. Like game 1, they had a bit more of kind of a pokey, but they still could have team fought with the amount of CC they had. And then game 3 was the absolute poke of pokey poke.
Yeah, but it was like they had the engage on top as well, so like cannon and stuff like that. I tell you what also I love about Tigers is their shot calling as well. So in game 1, when they go into the base, they lose a couple of members and they have to back off without taking the inhibitor. So they immediately did a massive balls call, go for Baron, because they know that KT won't come and contest that Baron kind of thing.
Very good call.
Like, and then that call of Baron allowed them to easily win the rest of the game. Like this is what I mean. But then even in game 2, Tigers managed to come back like slightly, as it were, managed to sort of repel KT, and then they got caught in the mid lane due to like a great kind of Lissandra flank. And that's what I mean. Like it's back and forth, and both these teams really showed their like strategical diversity. Like if you're a KT fan, you shouldn't be disappointed by how the series went because A, you were playing Hachani, so you've got that excuse in the back pocket, and B, KT looked good. They just don't look like the best team in the world. Can't judge them too hard for that.
Some of the biggest issues I had in game 3, or I expect KT to get destroyed, was like they tried to Lissandra again, and they already had so much issues closing with that Lissandra the game before. And Gorilla is just all over Fly's ass, dude. Like the entire series, like
holy shit,
Fly trying to get engaged on was a nightmare. Then he has that insane prediction pulverized that game 3. I mean, like, not sure why they tried to Lissandra again, and that was the best first pick I have seen this week of how effective it was into the enemy comp.
Like
so this is,
and like that moment in game 3 as well, where like Fly tries to go for the Lissandra Claw of Doom in. And the way the Lissandra Claw works, you can activate any time. There's like a slight delay as well, where like the claw is like kind of like peeling over, and you can just deactivate it. And you can see like where you would think the Fly would go in, and he holds it for like half a second more, just waiting like to try and draw that pulverize the last couple of seconds. Then pops it like a little bit early, but Gorilla still manages to predict him and pulverizes him instantly. Like it was just beautiful to see. Like that's not reactions. That's just you predicting exactly when he's going to do it, like down to the very sort of there's like. You can get like a 0.1%.
Yeah, that's no reaction.
Margin of error thing, like because you can tell like Fire's obviously skilled enough as a player that if he manages to get in and doesn't get pulverized immediately, he's going to get the ult off on himself, and then KT can do the engage kind of thing. Like, so it was so good.
I mean, when we're talking about Peanut and Gorilla being some of the best players, it seems kind of hard to believe, but I think that this might be where you have 3 of the 5 players are the best at their position in the world with Smeb, Peanut, and Gorilla. Like Gorilla and Smeb have shown they are so good.
Yeah, like at the very least, Peanut, Gorilla, and Smeb are all top 3 at roles. You can't dispute they're not top 3 at their role now.
Yeah.
Like in the
I mean, like with Smeb and Gorilla, it's almost hard to.
There's
not
nobody better than
that's
Smeb
the
and Gorilla
best
right now. So.
No, you can I still think somebody's really good, and I still think somebody's like a number 2, but I still don't think he compares to Smeb for like just his diverse and just the way when you watch Smeb play games as well, it's just so beautiful, like the way he like weaves skills together and like his team fighting, like I mean it wasn't in the series, but that game he had on Fiora where Longzhi managed to get a bit of a nice engage on Bard, and then he just like walks all the way around everyone, and like his auto attack on Fiora was just perfect every single time. I think
his Fiora has been cut above every single player since the rework.
Yeah.
His ability to proc the vitals and then like because he'll proc it and then instantaneously drop the Fiora ult and then proc it again. So he'll get 5 instead of the 4. His Fiora play has been outstanding,
And like,
and no one else can compare to it.
yeah, and like it's the way that like as well, like it's the way that sometimes he like manages to proc the vial and dodge a skill shot at the same time using like the using the Fiora like jump ability.
Little mini dash.
Like he doesn't seem to ever get hit by a skill shot in a fight, and yet he's always in the point where he can do the most damage. It's like, how is that both possible at the same time? Like he's not playing against shit players. That's what people don't read. He's playing against literally the best players in the world and fucking schooling on them all the time, kind of thing. Like so good. Like I don't understand how this guy became so good. He must have like there's some serious voodoo shit going on right there. Like you know what I mean?
Wonder if there's like HGH for video games.
Like he has found somebody stolen all of their skills, like and there's like the fucking Space Jam like skills going on, like on like 5 amazing Korean top laners taking all of their abilities, like wow, like so good. But yeah, this KT versus Tigers series of the week by far. If you watch one series this week, go and watch that series. Like,
I'd say watch that, but the Tigers' second series is if you wanted to see one team completely dominate, watch that one.
It's not
just
that competitive.
the diversity of play too, from that like the pokey style where they played against KT to the massive team fight they played against Longzhu.
yeah,
It's just they can play pretty much both comps that are really being played at the moment, where you have the poke and you have the engage. There's not too many other ones, really. I mean, there's a couple that have more global pressure, but you're not seeing the same kind of drastic pick comps now that Blue Trinket is pretty much just like, I wonder if this is in the bush. Okay, we found them.
you can't typecast the Tigers anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last year you could typecast them in terms
You
of
could beat them in the first 20 minutes. You could beat them.
yeah, like, and they had very obvious flaws. They were just so good at what their strengths were. They could play around it. You know what I mean, and stuff like that. You can't do that anymore, kind of thing. Like, and
Tigers have been very well rounded as a team.
And like if the most exciting thing to me as well is if Tigers make it to IEM Worlds and they manage to hold on to the #1 spot in Korea around then, like because this is obviously a tournament they will be desperate to win. Because it went last time. Like this will be like as bad as like when SKT went to All Stars in Paris in 2014.
Yeah,
It's gonna be Samsung White
Worlds,
where they literally lost one game because they were styling too hard.
Yeah, but you won't get that. You won't even get that from Tigers anymore because they'll be too terrified to try and style on something. Last time they tried to style it, face so badly, kind of thing. Like they won't even do that. Like this will be the most kind of like destruction you'll ever like. It'll be that kind of thing. Like you would hope that your favorite foreign player doesn't play at IEM Worlds because you don't want them to get embarrassed that badly. Kind of thing. Even Tigers' weak links of Prey and Kuro aren't actually really weak links. Like
no,
they're really
not
good
bad.
players.
They're very they're respectable in their roles.
Exactly, like it's just amazing to watch them play.
Right.
Let's move on to. I mean, we have a few quick games we can run through, anyways. So
Sbenu.
series at least. Sbenu CJ. My biggest comment about this was, Game 3. Did Sbenu forget to trade? Was that like an issue with Trundle and Lissandra?
No, because if
Lissandra support.
if it was, they would have.
They wanted.
They wanted the Lissandra.
Don't forget to trade. It was legit. Like they
Yeah, like because if you forget to trade, you can flag the referees and they'll remake the game for you.
It just, I don't get it at all. Like Lissandra needs gold to do consistent damage, and Trundle's just like a beast support at the moment without any gold.
What can I say about Sbenu, other than the fact that people were saying they were going to be quite good coming into this, and they have looked shit.
I mean, yeah, Flaw is an interesting Sin game, but
I hope Flaw gets on a new team. That's what I want from Flaw. I want Flaw on a new
he
team.
also has very stupid engages, and he keeps going sometimes a bit too aggressive in his
That's
builds.
because he's young, and they need someone to rein that in. And who on this team's gonna fucking rein him in?
Nobody.
Like they need to pick up an older player, whether or not that player is good, in top lane or jungle, and they need to pick up Mad Life, and Mad Life will be the voice of reason in Flawless's head.
What you want is Flaw onto CJ Entus. That's what you want.
Yeah.
I prefer CJ Entus as a organization to Sbenu.
Yeah, their name is.
And you do have to give Sbenu the benefit of the doubt because there is a lot of issues going on with the ownership of their organization in terms of their previous manager is convicted of match fixing and is now in jail.
But wasn't that like they have such a weird organization? Cause like they have different. Every team will have a different I don't know.
I think I've explained this before, but I'll just run over it again. So Sbenu sponsored StarTale, as in the StarCraft 2 StarTale team, and they sponsored Prime's League of Legends team. So Prime League of Legends team renamed themselves to Sbenu Sonic Boom. Now Prime and Prime StarCraft 2 team and Sbenu Sonic Boom were both owned by the same person and managed by the same person, whose name I cannot remember. But
I'm sure it's Korean.
What is sad is that before, actually, that was pretty Gerard, that's it. So Park Oi Sik, or Gerard, as his ID tag was known. He was the owner, or rather the manager, of Sbenu Sonic Boom and Prime StarCraft 2 team. Prime StarCraft 2 team were investigated for match fixing and found guilty because it was fucking obvious. And Gerard was found to be fixing bets and stuff like that because apparently he had a lot of debts to pay off or something and was like desperate. Who knows? Either way, dick thing to do. So don't do crime ever. It never pays unless you're like a gangster or something. So Prime's StarCraft, so Prime's League of Legends team is now managed, I think, by Kesper themselves directly. Because they are a Kesper member. So I believe that the team is now managed by. There are organization issues going on in Sbenu. Again, it's one of those you're never quite sure about what effects it's having. No one is. You're not a member of Sbenu kind of thing. Like you're not in the team house and you're not one of the 5 players. So you can't know exactly how it's affecting the players. I do theorize it's probably affecting them a bit, but I don't think it fully excuses their shit. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, and it's one of those where like the 2 teams obviously that got in last time, Anarchy, Freaks, and Sbenu Sonic Boom, are still objectively the most disappointing teams in Korea. How is that possible?
Yeah.
They don't to have gotten any better in relative to other teams.
How is that?
See, this is the issue. I don't see Africa or Anarchy as disappointing. They're exactly what I expected.
No, but it's disappointing.
So they can't disappoint me because they've not changed.
Yeah, but it's disappointing to realize when you have E-mfire and CJ that even they are
moving all the time. Like this is my point. Like they were also in a position to actually do well early on because they managed to retain their entire rosters, whereas obviously like E-mfire is a brand new roster. CJ and torn apart. They were in a position to do quite well and they've failed.
I didn't expect them to get out of the bottom, but at least they should have win a game by now.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So yeah, but Sbenu played bad in this series. Like I don't know what's going on with Assassin, but he doesn't look like very good anymore. And
Assassin looks okay, but
he played mid Kindred. How are you supposed to get stacks with mid Kindred?
I don't know.
This is what I mean. Like, why are you making the game so unnecessarily hard for yourself? Like, we were trying to style on CJ. It's like you're not good enough to style on fucking NA challenge.
Win a game.
Like,
win a game.
Win a series. Start styling on people. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? I mean, obviously, perhaps they weren't trying to style, but like, and also like Floor's champion picks as well. Like, I mean, game 1 he played Lee Sin, that's fair. Game 2 he like went for Nidalee and did nothing, and then game 3 he played Elise and still didn't manage to do anything. Like, I think Floor's a good player, or rather, I think he's a good prospect, and I think he might be a really great player. He needs a new team. That's what that guy needs. He has not changed that Sbenu lineup at all. He looks, you know what, like. I'm like, are you like? There's something going on in the water there that makes the junglers get caught. Like, it's good.
He's just way too aggressive sometimes. Like, even honestly, Sin he just takes all the cues that he sometimes just shouldn't.
Like everyone's hoping that E-mfire gets relegated. I kind of hope that Sbenu get relegated. You know what I mean? Like, if there's any team I'd want to sacrifice to see ever in LCK, it would probably be Sbenu right now.
Yeah, I mean, my issue with E-mfire is I don't see any of the players being like impressive. Where Sbenu you do, which is kind of the difference of, do you want to see some of the impressive players be able to get rid of their garbage players and move on? Because this is the big issue I have with all the people that have been like hyped, Freeca, hype Jinair, hype Sbenu, hype, like, you can't hype a team and be like, oh yeah, Flawless is good, Sassen's good, Nuclear's not that bad. Yeah, but Secret and Soar are literally the dumpster that is containing all three of them. And the game has progressively become more and more of a team game where it is your worst player decides your fate, not your best. And Soar and Secret clearly are pulling the team, like, are the giant weights onto the team. And it's just surprising to see people hype when the game has become more and more team-based. And yet they're still playing with Soar and Soul and Secret.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not expecting anything to Sbenu lineup. I just think that, you know what, it's just weird to see a team that managed to hold on to their roster for so long and has theoretically played with each other for so long still be this bad and still make such, you know, team fights badly and stuff like that.
You would expect from Sassen, I mean,
you would expect just from the history of career that these players would improve, you know.
they have improved a bit, but it seems like right now in the beginning of this split, like they just seem to forget how to play as a team. Or
like there was a point on Cast where Doa was talking about he was talking about E-mfire, and he was saying that, you know, in their original split, the MVP players who went on and became the Samsung players were this bad. He is absolutely correct in that, in the sense of the ones that managed to last started off that terribly. Imp was always pretty good. Acorn was pretty terrible early on. Heart was pretty bad early on. It played jungle back then. You know,
yeah, Heart was really bad.
This is the thing. They cleverly kept changing their names, and no one who knew who they were. So it's very difficult to work out who they actually were back then.
Chunju or Acorn. You can play one champion.
Yeah, I know who you were.
You can play Rumble.
Deft was not that good early on as well. He improved a lot.
Deft, well, this is the thing people always forget, and they kind of retcon in their mind, is that Deft was good, but he only began to hit God tier when Dade came into the team and was able to be like, hey guys, I'm going to jump into the team fight, focus me, Deft, you do all the damage.
Yeah, go to the outside of it and do max. Yeah, but he is right in the sense of, so when you look at how like players in Korea and how teams in Korea that were bottom of the barrel managed to improve upwards, you kind of hope the same for Sbenu and to a lesser degree Africa Freaks, but whatever. But they don't seem to be improving at all, and that is.
You see minor improvements in some of the players, but you don't really see a significant improvement in the team, or none of those players' improvements is enough to really tilt the team in towards a win, enough to tilt the scales to get them to win. Like Ixu is definitely improved from where he first came into the league, but there's not enough of it to make them be like, oh yeah, he's going to be the one that carries the game. No, he's improved in like basic mechanics, positioning. He's improved in small aspects, but he's still not like, oh, I'm gonna carry because Mickey has put himself on our back for forever.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about Africa Freaks later because they only played one match this week. But
I mean, well, we can jump to Samsung SKT. This should be pretty short. Faker came out. Faker did well.
SKT
got completely robbed of an MVP in Game 2.
SKT were very suspect in Game 1.
Game 1, yes.
Well,
which
again,
is another thing of Gangplank.
There was
go ahead.
Gangplank again. Like this Gangplank does nothing. Like Faker constantly gets pushed in, loses turret, has to ult to wave clear, and then when he finally gets the ult a bit, sometimes they were good, but that's the only thing Gangplank still offers is his ults.
I sometimes think maybe the SKT coaches sat down and were like, right, so everyone thinks that like Faker's like, you know, like Faker on Zeroth is a really bad idea, or Faker on Lulu is a really bad idea. What champion can be one that's a worse idea?
Faker on Lulu is never a bad idea.
His Lulu is ridiculous.
He's very good on that, both offensively as defensively. He can be very versatile with Lulu. It's just you rather have him actually be more offensive, but I still rather put him on Lulu, which he can be useful on all the time, than on a super long scaling champion that does nothing. I hate that. That's fucking wasting Faker.
That's one of the biggest issues I have is if you go back and watch Game 1 and Game 2 and just watch Faker in lane phase. Gangplank, he's always falling back. He's always trying to not die. Like he's always just trying to eke out whatever possible farm he can grab. Where game 2, he is completely bullying Crown out of lane
He's bullying Crown
over and over, and he just chips at the turret, chips at the turret, chips at the turret, and then he takes it down, and it just opens up the map so much. And I don't understand why they just never just put him on a champion that will dominate lane phase every game, because who cares if he doesn't scale super hard in a late game? The enemy they're not going to have an enemy mid laner because they're going to have to recall every 2 waves to go get health as he pokes at their turret and then goes for the next turret because he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, like if SKT, because obviously SKT's next match is against Tigers. If they want to beat Tigers, they need to put Faker on a hard carry champ and try and see if he can exploit Kuro or something like that. Because any other weird win strategy they've got is not going to work out, kind of thing. Like if they're going to try and get Duke to dominate Sbenu lane, that's not going to happen. And you know what?
They need him on Faker.
Duke's a great player.
They need Faker on Victor.
Yeah, Duke's a great player. Turns out Smo's better. Smeb lanes just as well, and you know what? He team fights better. He teleports better. You know what? And he plays more champions as well. And if their plan is to get Bang to carry, that's not a plan that's going to work against because against Gorilla, and it's not going to work.
I don't give a fuck about Prey, just Gorilla.
I would say the issue. Well, Prey usually doesn't He understands his role, and he's like, I'm not going to play forward then. Okay, you want to win the lane and then win the lane really hard, and then snowball, then to win the game. I'm just going to sit under my turret, give out some CS, and let Smeb and Gorilla carry me like they usually do.
Tigers will also do that thing where they'll go, "Oh, you're really good on Lucian. Okay, well, Prey can play Lucian pretty well. We'll just put him on Lucian." He does it again. He did it against OQ really well. It was quite entertaining to watch. He didn't even like Lucian.
He did it this week.
Bang, OQ loves Lucian. He did it this week.
Yeah.
Against Captain Jack,
yeah, he wanted to keep away from Captain Jack, who's very good on those kind of spell.
So yeah, SKT looked good in the second game, and I'm not saying the first game was shows that they're going to be shit or anything like that. It's just stop picking that GP and start. They just need to change the way they play League of Legends to become really good again. You know what I mean? I don't think you can say the team is definitely fallen off.
My biggest issue, they've definitely fallen off with the loss of Marin, who clearly had a voice in the game. The biggest issue I see is for SKT currently, for them retaining a top 3 place, they probably will, but the top 2, I mean, or even just the top spot, is the outside of the game, is picks and bans and picking the players who go into the game.
Right now, after
those are the 2 biggest issues, are things that happen before the game begins.
If they don't have to play against Rocks like the way they played all last year, it's not going to work. They can't just say, let Faker take a secondary position. They need Faker again to be the front line, the primary attention to their pick bands to how they're gonna win the game. So they can't just say let's Duke. Duke is still way too new in this team to be reliable to carry, even though Marn way overblown hyped because of all the shit they helped him with. But
what I would say,
I think what Marn brought is a voice.
What I would say that was disappointing about when Samsung played against SKT is they didn't ban out Bank, which is the strategy I want to see someone do.
That's
take away Evelyn.
I'm pretty sure Rox is going to do that.
Pick Elise, ban Rek'Sai. I don't think I've seen Peanut play Rek'Sai, so maybe he probably does play it, but whatever.
He probably plays bait,
put Peanut on Elise because he's insane on it. Ban away the Rek'Sai and just see what he does. Just test the waters out. If he picks a 3rd champion, he's not terrible on it. Ban the 3rd champion in the next game. You know what I mean? See what happens, kind of thing.
One of the biggest questions is, why did Samsung ban Zed?
They are fucking scared of Faker for some reason. I mean, he's playing a lot in solo queue, but
they only banned it in 1 game.
I know, but that was the game where they were first pick, where they could have banned Elise or Rek'Sai, picked the other.
They're not that smart to pick that.
It blows my mind.
I like the respect ban from SKT against Kuve, where they just banned out the Poppy really early on.
Yep.
First.
Longsy didn't do that in game 3.
Yeah, they didn't play. First time they played.
In game 3 they knew they could have banned it then.
Yeah, but like first time, so SKT played when they played Samsung. The first bans were Poppy, Rise, and Alistair, and then the second bans against Samsung were Victor, Poppy, and Gangplank. I mean, again, stop banning Gangplank because it's not very good. Like you play,
Yeah.
I would give Gangplank, like, dear, take him. Just like waste
Give
your
us a
first
free
pick
lane.
on Gangplank, man.
Give us a free lane for 20 minutes, please.
but yeah, it was like that was. I think that was pretty smart out of SKT. You take away Kuve's best champion, and he didn't play that well in the other on what he was put on. He played
Fiora and then Lissandra.
Fiora and Lissandra. He played like all right, but it wasn't anything special really.
No.
No, particularly no.
His Fiora play was he had the one where he was able to kill
he so-called Duke,
Tom Kench in the CC from the post of the W.
Because
And that
Duke is cocky and should just pop his grey healths.
Duke is so cocky on Tom Kench.
Jesus,
Holy shit! Like
Duke is so cocky. Period.
That's twice he's nearly cost a team a game by refusing to pop grey health like just a second before. Like he's like that guy who's like, I just want to pop it like just at the very last second. Like I want to get the maximum use. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, and he tries to be smart, eating while their pulse is still up.
It's like that movie in the moment move like hold it, hold it, hold it. Hold it. Instead of saying like now he just goes hold it, roll credits.
So. Anything else to say about that? I mean,
I think that's the way.
SKT has been kind of talked to death.
Yeah,
that's the way to beat
over the last 2
Samsung.
years. Now we have Freeca versus Janair, and I did not watch the third game because I watched the first two and then had to go to work and was like, yeah, saw it was 60 minutes, not gonna rewatch that game.
I guess it was cool to see the Rumble being picked by Africa Freaks, but man, I don't want to talk about the series.
The series was just...
But my big issue with Africa Freaks is that they have one carry threat, and that is Mickey. And you know what? Mickey's not in the right meta for him to really carry. Their AD carry is the worst AD carry in the league. Find a new AD carry, please. Anyone will do. There's got to be someone who's better at AD carry than Sanghyun. He is.
So is he worse than Sol and Guger?
Well, I mean, before what they could do is recruit Guga from E-mfire. He's actually a pretty good AD carry. That could be one thing they could have done. Guga's not a bad AD carry. He's obviously much worse on support, his new role, than he is on AD carry. So why don't you get Guga from E-mfire and put him onto your team? That would improve your team at least a bit.
Trash is interesting. But it's like the only thing he plays, Guga, is trash. Everything else is pretty easy.
Yeah.
Because that is the I can't play support champion.
Exactly.
At least I can press W and save teammates. I might not be able to be very good at anything else, but
I've been forced onto support. I might as well pick Thresh. Like that's what you do in solo queue, isn't it? Like, or you play Janna if you're me.
Same.
Basic Janna bitch. No, like, you know what? Africa Freaks, until they get a new AD carry, will not be a good team. I will say that right now. That Sanghyun guy is legitimate shit.
And other than that, what came out of this series was Janair did not look the same Janair. It's almost like they played a peak performance out of a few of their players, and they had a great strategy.
Janair play to the level of their opponents. That is their big weakness. If they play against someone good, they look good. If they play against someone shit, they look shit. They play to the level of their opponents.
They need Trace to... If he's playing tanks, they just don't have enough to win games.
He got double MVP. He's the MVP leader right now.
Yeah, also they fucking want to give Trace MVP for some reason. Like, just throwing it at him. It's like, here, mate, you won. I mean, he played good. I'm not saying that, but...
Talking about MVP, he jumped back to the SKT game. Second game, Faker played Lulu out of his goddamn mind and was basically the facilitator to get Duke to allow him to last hit. Fucking stole an MVP. And it's obvious that people are whoever's choosing it are having what is it?
MVP fatigue. That's what he told me.
Yeah, MVP fatigue of Faker, where he's been the best player for both years. SKT won the World Champions, and they just came off of that. That's the first few weeks. Faker is playing a support player. Duke got the kills. It's like clearly Duke was the winner. So
yeah, I think
that's this MVP garbage.
I think people just don't want to give support players.
People not a fan of the Lulu.
Understand
why.
Okay, so
we are on to Longzhu versus Rocks, because the other series did not exist.
Yeah, okay, good. That's
How
good.
much you want to talk about Sbenu E-mfire other than that E-mfire?
E-mfire won. That's
won.
it. Okay.
E-mfire won. Congratulations for them for winning. It only took them 3 weeks to win a game, whereas it took Sbenu 8 weeks.
Rip.
It's 2 weeks.
Like, if
2 weeks.
the first series against CJ was not evident enough of them losing, fucking RIP Sbenu.
They
Yeah.
lost against
Anything.
the two technically worse, but now they're the worst teams again. So
They lost against the two teams everyone thought was just going to be complete utter garbage, because one is just, oh shit, we need to fill
Yeah, we need
a
5
squad.
players.
And,
We need to
oh,
finally kick our old players.
we need to wait for BDD and
Oh
Ghost.
yeah, that's.
Those are the two. Like, those are the two teams. Like, we're waiting for our players to hit the ripe old age of was it 17? 17.
They lost to a team
Two.
that hasn't. They lost to a team that hasn't got all their players, and then lost to a team with 5 random guys off the street. Like,
Do you play top? No, I play. Do you play support? No, I play to carry. Close enough. Same lane. Same lane.
Can you play trash? Yes. Okay. Good enough. Good enough. Okay. Rock slums do that.
Do you play top lane? I play Nautilus. You're hired.
Why? You should go play for E-mfire, Sam. You played Nautilus.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
Hey, people never expect level 6 full in. People always underestimate the damage on Nautilus E. I'm sorry, if you play Nautilus top in solo queue, it's so much fun. People always underestimate the damage on that Nautilus E. It does so much damage. It's so good.
We're not here to talk about dumb solo queue garbage. So, anything else to say about this game besides, wow, they
Said too
look
much.
bad.
We said too much.
Okay.
Yeah, we always said that.
Moving on to Rocks Longzhu. What a fucking series.
Oh wow.
Here, you even more you see the fact that Longzhu couldn't beat Samsung is an issue, but here just to see the fucking difference in just completion of a team. Like Longzhu just building up and just dumpster in every fucking. I mean, game 1 was just pure individually getting. Everybody just got owned, team fighting. Just
What I like about the Longzhu versus Rocks kind of series is it's 2 very different ethoses for how you build a team put against each other. So the Longzhu ethic for how you build a team, or the philosophy, is buy as many good players as you can, put them in different roles, and see how they mesh. The Rocks method is you get five guys who get along great, you put them in a team and see how well they can do, kind of thing.
It's not just that. It's get 5 people who were not bad.
Yeah.
This isn't like we're 5 friends playing together. It's no. Prey seriously had it something to prove. Gorilla is a beast. Smeb came out of fucking not nowhere. He was allowed to play actual damage champions. They had originally they had obviously Lee, Hojin, and Wisdom. Those 2 were not the greatest, but then you had Kuro, who was supportive and was supporting, surprisingly, the Gorilla and Smeb, and now you've replaced him with Peanut. It's just they have played players that are great together and are friendly together that are amazing.
Yeah, they have had a whole year of a lot of experience.
Yeah, there's obviously an unfair advantage as well. Rocks have had a whole year to build synergy. Long as you've had 2 weeks, it's not comparable. It would be embarrassing if Rocks lost this series.
2 weeks and they already swapped their top laner.
The biggest disappointment of this series is Smeb did not sing in his endgame interview.
She was like, "Oh yeah, I've already sing in the booth. Can you sing for us now?" I was like, "Oh, maybe I'll do it next time." But
I was,
so
how dare you?
So summoning inside throwback. Remember when they got Flame to play for LGD at Worlds, and Thorin had that great analogy about it was release the flame, he's chained up, and they get a little guys coming that chain kills the first guy that comes out.
Yeah.
You know, this person release the flame, he comes out walks out onto the field there's a bigger monster that just squashes him immediately. Smeb fucking wrecked Flame in this series. There was a great
Bring out the flame. Oh no, Smeb's bigger.
It was where it cut to Flame's face, and he had this the most broken face ever on he looked like he was about to cry, and Smeb's just laughing his fucking head off on the other side of the booth.
Which is worse? Which face was worse? That one, or when he was the final kill for the Gangplank Pentakill on the fucking troll games they were playing?
Well,
Which, because Flamer's God damn it.
I don't think he ever got that mad.
but this was obviously good because And because the Flame thought this was this big coming out party kind of thing, like I get to go against the best top lane in Korea, like prove he's like not that great, and I got fucking dumpstered. Like I fucking wrecked him. Like there was no kind of like hesitation like about who's the better top laner anymore. Like I still had people like telling me like, oh Flame's better than Snow. I'm like, in what universe? You can't say that anymore now. Like you can't.
I don't understand how people could say it beforehand.
Yeah.
People say a lot of shit to me on Twitter. Like it still tilts me. Like it's a direct message to me. Only I get to fucking see it as well. It's the worst.
I mean, even Thorin, his response like to that is, well, was calling Smeb like the new Flame.
You know, it was like Neo Flame is wrecking wrecking real Flame. I was like, Smeb is not Neo Flame. Like Smeb is Smeb. Like he's a new player.
If there's one Flame fan, it's definitely Thorin.
Yeah.
But he understands. Oh yeah, it's Smeb.
But I just love that it's like release the Flame, wanders out, and then immediately like just squashed to the side like
Next.
next sacrificial lamb for me. Like
Smeb, the bloodthirsty.
We should name this show Smeb Talk before we fucking talk about it.
He is an attractive man, and he does.
He's the only person that's not on our
least-
overlay as well. It's really sad that he's not on our overlay. Like,
I still think we should have like rotating players from Rocks Tigers, or just we were talking before, is just have, instead of our faces, just have the Twitter photo feed from Rocks Tigers, and just from their Twitter, just like scroll across the screen as we talk. Enjoy cute players with cute cats.
but the series was like it was a destruction of Longzhu. If you're Longzhu and you like just been beat that badly, it gives you a lot to go away and think about at least. You know what I mean? Like. The only player who didn't really get properly wrecked was Coco, but he still didn't he didn't manage to carry it at all. Like
Well, after Rocks Tigers play against KT and LZ's play against Samsung, it was clear, regardless of what the caster said, it was clear that this was going to be heavily in Rocks' favor.
I watched that play. I was like, oh yeah, I know what I'm gonna. I had no idea what the score was, but I just knew it was a 2-0 for Rocks. It's gonna be.
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh, this is gonna be really amazing if Longzhu managed to take a game kind of thing, like, and they didn't manage to take a game.
I mean, the positive things is Longzhu gets the next 3 games they're playing are Africa, CJ, E-mfire, and then Sbenu, and then they play SKT when Fury comes back. So at least they have like.
Can you imagine if Coco loses to the new CJ and just roster? Like, I'll probably commit suicide after that. Like,
I would not. Like, he'd have to show up like I don't know if this would be a huge reference to everyone, but when the Detroit Lions used to play, and they were really bad, and their fans started coming in paper bags over their head because they didn't want to be seen going to the games. So, like, Coco, the next time Coco comes out, he's just got a paper bag on his head. And he just plays the game that way.
renames himself to paper bag until he like manages to redeem himself. Like, no.
I mean, at least they have games where they can work on their synergy against weaker opponents, and I hope to see them continue to improve. And then give SKT an actual challenge when Fury comes back.
Yeah, like we can give Tigers an actual challenge as well. Would be nice, really.
Nah, I'm okay with Tigers just fucking styling at everyone with Prey and his controller.
His pilot. But no, it was like it was a really one-sided series. And like Longzhu were a good team, they got really good players, like, but they were getting styled on because Rocks Tigers like teamwork is so incredible. Like the way those guys bounce off each other is so next level.
Their team fighting was insane, and it's that's the easiest way to abuse Longzhu is that their team fight has looked really bad because they don't have any kind of like cohesive team fighting. They just seem to kind of be all over.
And again, Peanut got in that ass.
Oh man,
got in that ass. Straight up, like
Peanut is like finally. It's taken an entire year of being like, oh, someone's gonna get up, and it's never happened, and finally Peanut is reliving everyone's dreams of
just a cute little tidbit as well. So Pure spent the entire of 2014 on the sub support for Najin White Shield, so he was like Gorilla's understudy for the entire of 2014. He finally like gets to play Gorilla on like what he probably thinks is like equal footing. Like you've got a super team, I've got a super team. Well, Longzhu aren't a super team really, but I'm sorry, Ku aren't a super team really. Longzhu definitely are. Ku are, due to the definition of super teams. They're an elite team, not a super team. But
I missed the definition.
okay, so the super team is defined as players who were really successful on different teams coming together. So five players who were all successful on different teams coming together to make one team. That's a super team right there.
Hey, when Tigers came in first, people really did not expect them to really challenge for anything.
No.
And when they went on the tear and spring split, everyone was very excited.
Yes. But it was just funny. Like I just had this image of because obviously it's like the apprentice and the master, and like pure. So it's like when you left, I was the apprentice. Now I'm the master. No, get out my face, got fucking back,
Got my face. Time to wreck, boys.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was a very enjoyable series, but it was not like Longzhu did not look good in the series. And it also
then again,
that
no one has looked good in any games.
The solution to all their problems is not bring in Flame, which is what people were saying. It was like, oh, bring in Flame, they could beat anyone. I'm like, what?
I definitely think Expression fucked up against Samsung, but I mean, they have to figure out which top lane they want to use. I mean, that's.
I'd rather have them choose one of them and try and stick it out for a couple weeks.
I mean,
kind of
right
swapping,
now, like you said, they have easy teams, so they better just say like, all right, we choose one of you and just stick with it.
I think Flame deserves to play until they lose a game, and then I would swap in Expression and see how he does against the same team. So if they put like three garbage teams next up, if they drop a game to a garbage team, that's when you would swap out to Expression and see how that would go. Basically, is what I would do. If I was obviously I'm not one of the coaches. They probably know more about coaching players than I do. Maybe, who knows. But it was it was a good series, but just very one-sided for the way that Tigers made Longzhu look like look like Jin Air or something.
Rox makes everyone look like Sbenu.
Well,
wasn't that bad.
I know that I just joke. It's hyperbole, but Rox just completely and utterly has beasted every single team they've come into.
KT put up a fight, but
KT wasn't like, oh, KT's got the game 2 in a bag. It was like KT had to fight to win that game.
They should have had it in a bag. They just started back. They kind of fucking started throwing, and then Rox almost managed to pull it out. One sneaky ass engage.
So,
but
anything else to say about this week?
Tigers definitely better.
No.
I think this week just level-headed. It's like what we said last week. It's just some teams a bit overblown. Sbenu in Africa is still shit.
Yeah.
And please do not overblow SKT losing one fucking series against Jenner. They're still okay-ish. We'll just see what I have to go. Well, I want to see more Bengi getting tested still, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the weakness of SKT is Bengi's champion pool, but it's still.
And I still feel like they're not very synergized yet. I don't know. I see what Duke. I still like Duke, but I'm not. I mean, Duke and Chase for me are still like.
They still have to show back up to what they used to be.
Yeah, they could be great, but they're not spring split from last year yet. So we'll see where.
They need to go back to re-show what they were able to do spring of last year and show those performances again.
But in a team.
But thank goodness Sbenu hype is dead.
Oh,
Africa's hype is dead.
Spen hype is
soon to be Jin Air hype is gonna die. And the only one that will remain is Samsung, and they'll be just the 5th. They'll be number 5.
Yeah, but that's okay for me. Yeah, I can see Samsung Jin Air fight, but Jin Air still has some good players that can.
To be fair to Samsung, they have a really hard schedule in week 3 because they play KT and then they play Tigers.
They fucking better go to 0-2.
So I have a really difficult lineup.
They just lost to SKT.
Well, let's run through the games then for next week. So Wednesday, I guess unless you live in Asia, it would be Thursday, right?
No, it's Wednesday, man.
No, because they're 60. Oh yeah, Wednesday night. Okay.
It's Wednesday night.
Evening. They play during the afternoon.
It's Wednesday morning for Europe and Wednesday very very late.
Wednesday at 3 for
Yeah,
Eastern.
it's night
and-
for America, and then it's evening, afternoon for Korea itself.
You have to wake up. You have to wake up at 8 a.m. For me, like I wake up at like 7:30, make a cup of tea, eat some breakfast, sit down, watch the series.
It's wake up at 3, put it on your phone, and try not to fall asleep. Which, not very successful.
Depends on the quality of the game. Sometimes I catch myself nodding off my chair, like sometimes when it's like Africa versus E-mfire. Who the fuck will I miss? Like, oh, nothing.
So yeah.
So we have game 1, Africa versus Sbenu.
One team will finally get a win and beat each other,
Two
Sbenu-
shit teams will enter.
Yeah.
Two shit teams will leave. Like,
but one will get 1 point.
yeah, one of them will.
One will
find
be embarrassed a bit less.
Yeah, both are 0-3. Sbenu have technically a better record than Africa because they're 2 and
Because they've
6,
won
not
more
1 and
games.
6. So based purely on that, Sbenu will win.
It's 2-6 versus the fucking worst teams. Imagine.
That's very true. I think if I had to go, I'd say Sbenu 2-1, but who fucking knows, like, and who cares? You know what I mean?
Well, the
I think
biggest issue here is Mickey gonna get a champion he can carry on and then be able to carry?
Nope.
That's literally the only.
We
That's the one game.
Yeah, we ask this question about Africa all the time, and the answer for this one as well is no.
I don't know.
I think Sbenu is gonna win. Fuck me for the 2-1 or 2-0.
Well, it'll go to 3 games. It'll be 3 60-minute long games, kind of thing. Like, if your only plan is to watch SKT versus Rocks Tigers, probably pretty fair. Don't worry about like waking up early. Whenever you live in Europe, like, wake up at maybe 10, 10:30 o'clock. Like, give yourself a couple of hours extra in bed, make yourself a nice cup of tea or coffee, slowly cruising. You'll get the last like half an hour of whatever, so you'll get an impression of how the whole series went. You watch the last 20 minutes or whatever. You live in NA, rip your sleep schedule because it's going to be a fucking 3-hour-long shit fest. So,
Well, I mean, it's not actually that bad because you can just avoid watching that.
Yeah, get up at 6. Watch SKT Rocks. Something.
Yep.
Whatever.
So I mean, yeah, then we have XT Rocks. Do you think it's gonna be 2-1 or 2-0 Rocks? Or do you think SKT will have the chance to pull it out?
I think they can pull it out, but I do feel I think Rocks is less a favorite than they were versus KT right now. It's do or die, but I think Rocks are right now better, but I think SKT can definitely by the end of the split level up again at the same evenish level. I mean, we set this up. They have at least 2 of the best players in the world in their position, maybe 3. The other 2 are super serviceable. And
yeah.
SKT is dealing with maybe Bang totally crashing. Wolfish is like okay-ish. Bang only Bang is decent. Faker they have to put on decent champions because if they stick with the wrong things, and Duke is still a big question mark. I mean,
when you do the individual matchups, obviously that's like 50% of how a team works. At most is the individual matchups. Like, Tigers have the individual matchup in their favor right now, based on Peanut's playing better than Bengi, Smurf's playing better than Duke. It's like Faker's like the big X factor in this. Based on Faker and who he is as a player, I think that it will go 2-1, but I do think it will be 2-1 to Rocks Tigers, and I think that I would predict that. I almost think it's going to be a repeat of the last time they played early on in the spring, if you remember. Like, Tigers schooled SKT in the first game. Then they gave Faker LeBlanc in the second game, trying to sort of style on him. Then Faker styled on them with LeBlanc, and then game 3 they just banned him and just wrecked them again. So I think I kind of think that's how it'll go again. Is how I kind of imagine it happening.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one that if it goes 3 games, it'll be fun. I think it's gonna be fun regardless.
Yeah.
We'll get to see the big chance of whether or not Rocks are gonna try and ban out Bengi. Whether or not Peanut will once again get all up in that ass.
Likely.
So I mean, this is probably this is the game of the week for sure.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yes.
record wise, there's another one that'll be the best technically.
KT Samsung really.
Rock Samsung is going to be technically the best because
Oh yeah,
of
because
the
Samsung
line.
has
If
40
you just go with simply on wins and losses.
Yes.
No, it won't, because like we always saw what happens if the SKT plays for Samsung, so Rock's just gonna do.
Oh yeah, Rocks is going to
Well,
get destroyed.
if you think Ambition is leaving that series against Rock for a good think from it, like
Well, my issue is that I'm glad that's on Saturday because that means Ambition has all the way until the next week Saturday to be able to try and sit down again.
gonna need one of them cushions, like with the hole in the bottom kind of thing.
Yep.
Like he's gonna
He's going to be very tentative, like,
it hurts to move. I hope he doesn't eat for like 24 hours beforehand. Like, shout out there if if you've ever done that with a girl. Don't eat for 24 hours beforehand. It'll make it much better. Trust me.
So, we have the next day on Thursday. We have once again the same conundrum of the early game, Jin Air CJ. Not really interesting. Next game, KT Samsung, actually interesting.
Uh,
Hold on a
it's
second.
Jin Air CJ.
Hold on a second. I just
Jin
want to
Air
make a
should win.
prediction for Jin Air CJ. I think it'll be 2-0 to Jin Air.
yeah, same.
And then KT versus Samsung, 2-1 to KT.
I would give this to KT too. I think Kuve has improved, but I still think someday it's going to be like, you've improved, motherfucker, but
I want
Enjoy.
to see Ignar play against Samsung.
I think KT will 2-0 Samsung's score because I don't feel Ambition should have much impact. Well, I mean, he did beat. No, I think score should be fine.
If KT play Ignar, they can 2-0. If they play Hachani, he will throw a game, and this is the master of throwing.
Yeah, that's also true, of course.
Hachani will get caught, and then Samsung will exploit it and turn it around and stuff like that. I also hope that Samsung plays Stitch and not Core JJ because I think that while I prefer I like Core JJ more, I root for Core JJ more. I think Stitch is a better player.
Yeah,
So
I was also surprised with the Core JJ
I hope
versus
that they play.
SKT.
I hope that they play Stitch, and I hope that they play. I hope I see Ignar and Stitch, but I think that if they play Ignar, KT can 2-0. If they play Hachani, they will 2-1.
Yep.
Because Hachani is legitimate. Hachani is so bad.
he is legitimately the ability to throw the game.
Hachani is close to becoming the LCK equivalent of Dada 777 in the sense of all experts and all the people who watch games just hate him so much. Please stop playing.
He pretty much is. Yeah.
Hachani came back and nobody was happy. Even his mum was like, "For fuck's sake!"
I think the worst thing is when your AD carries yes, he indeed is in the lane that I play and is on the team I play for. Those are the things I'm contractually obligated to say about him. Can we move on to the next question, for the love of God?
God, Hachani.
So, after that, we move on to Friday's early morning game, SKT versus E-mfire, which
The
you
entire
can probably
Friday is just.
you can get an extra hour 30 you can sleep in for because this game going in dry.
No.
I-
What I will like to watch is the fans flip flop reaction from when Tigers beat SKT and then all SKT fans are like, "Boo, Duke is shit or Bang is shit or whatever," and then when they beat E-mfire, I'm like, "No, sorry, we're the best team in the world again." He'll go straight back to we're the best team in the world after they beat E-mfire, as is the SKT fan way.
Do you think they're gonna play Faker both games because they
I would hope
just
I would hope
come off a
they
loss?
would. I would hope that they would. Because imagine if they drop a game to E-mfire, Scout's career's over.
Yeah. So
I
it's
think
blank.
if they lose to Rocks, they should fucking realize they need Faker. I mean, they need to work on their main lineup to remain number one or get back to number one.
Yes.
You can't take the. Well, I mean, they did it last year, so what the fuck do I know what they want to think?
Oh, I will say that I think Blank is worse than Scout in the one game I've seen them both play in. Blank did nothing in that game. But
Oh yeah.
I don't want to see either of them right now. I want to see Faker and Bengi play.
But also, well, whatever. They're stupid with their swaps. I mean,
Yeah, why do they have subs for the two best roles as well?
I mean, that's what we talked about with last week. Is it seems absolutely insane to have subs for their two best roles instead of trying to get a sub for their weakness in bottom lane with support, or try and get multiple top laners that at least have them have to play off against each other.
Yeah, whatever.
Let's get
2-0 for SKT. Easy. That's not.
And then Longzhou, Africa.
I mean, it's gonna be.
2-0 for Longzhou. I would hope.
I know that Africa games can. They can get so messy.
I would agree 2-0 simply because Coco is going to be able to shut down Mickey, and that's Africa's only way to win is literally jump in a backpack that Mickey carries.
Yeah.
No, that's true. That's true.
So hopefully this is the beginning of Longzhou making a comeback.
Yeah, making a bit of a comeback. They
Build.
Then
released
we
a single, it was good. They released another single, it was shit. They released another single, it was shit. This is their album that's about to come out. I want the album to be good.
Yeah. By the end of the split ticket.
Don't be a one-hit wonder, Longzhou.
Rock Samsung. How bad is this 2-0 going to be? Is this going to be what people finally realize? Oh, Samsung's going to be skirting the bottom of like the
This
top
is
5.
like wait, what was that series? This is gonna be like Rocks versus CJ almost. Just pure utter single. I mean, individual
Embarrassment?
domination there. Just starting like a motherfucker. They will not care about anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
2-0 for Rocks.
And then Jinair Sbenu.
No.
Can Sbenu help make the sad plane exist?
Like, well, last time they played, Sbenu won 2-0. But this time, Stan playing is still a couple of weeks off.
It's like mediocre playing right now. Just they win, but it's not anywhere.
Did you see that? Did you see the Easy Hoon plane that got put on Reddit with the Easy Hoon face? I think it's like Easy Hoon playing at the moment, like with the sort of like.
Okay. Yeah, they should win, obviously, because Sbenu is like.
Yeah.
Sbenu.
And still get a full week of games as well. It's the week 4 that we get 2 less games, and then week 5 we get.
The really weird thing about week 4 is that Jinair and Samsung are going to play at either Friday or Saturday, and then they don't play again until week 6. Like, there's 2 teams that don't play at week 5.
Oh yeah. There's Jinna and Samsung and
Sitman.
good.
Yep, it's
Oh, it was Rock. Oh no, wait.
Rock Tigers. It's Jinair and
Yeah,
Samsung.
there's
There's 2
There
teams.
are only 2 teams.
Yeah, only
Jenner Samsung.
Jinna and Samsung don't play. Yeah.
Oh man, week 4. E-mfire have to play KT and Longzhou.
Yeah, it's brutal times. It'll help get better.
We'll get there next week.
But yeah, there's one big series that like is you have to watch, and that's SKT versus Rocks. The rest of them are just kind of like you want to see how your team does and how the evolution of the team goes on and whatnot. But the majority of well, pretty much all of them look pretty kind of like open and shut deals. You know what I mean? Like it'd have to be like a Jinna versus SKT level of upset to kind of for my predictions to be wrong this week. I think so far I've got all the predictions right except for Jinna versus SKT as well. So
Yeah, that's the biggest issue
Pretty
one.
much,
I don't
yeah.
think many people saw that one coming. So
no. It's like with that Worlds thing where that one guy managed to predict every result. He didn't actually predict every result. He just put numbers into a fucking count, into one of those lottery machines.
Yeah,
Ding, 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 and he like rolled a dice and rolled high. That's all that happened.
it's like saying animals can predict football.
I was gonna say it's just like every other thing where you gamble. It's just at some point in time, someone is going to win. They're not going to win because they were clever and used any sort of skill. They're going to win simply because someone has to eventually.
Yes. I think that's the end of the show. See you later, everyone. Have a good
Thanks.
week.
Thanks for watching.
Make sure your girlfriend doesn't eat for 24 hours before you try to go to the back door.
Yeah, that's the note of the day. Okay, thanks.